I'm live. Welcome. I know shit from Shinola about that. Oh, well, hello, Radri. Hello, viewers. Welcome to Simon NoChaNoMa. Radri lived in Japan quite some time, doesn't know much about the history of Japan. I shall now go to this and switch off my myself talking. Not that one. No, where is it? Oh, there's so many things open here. There we go. Right. That's just to see. I've got myself in real time on my broadcast studio, and I've got I don't know what delay there. Fids of your mom, hello. Nice to see you. Nice to see anybody that will join later or now who I've spammed this morning. I've had my pizza. I've had at least 2 glasses of wine and I'm on my 3rd. So it could be an interesting show. I don't know the advantage of doing it on a Sunday. I don't have to get in the car and drive to pick up my son. So I may have a 4th glass of wine. But anyway, yes, yesterday, well, the reason why we're having this show today is that due to YouTube and all that business and not having a YouTube app anymore that allows me to live stream, and having had issues in the last outdoor live stream I had, whereby tall buildings destroyed my live stream by cutting out the 4G connection at various times, I decided not to take that risk and do something that my oldest son suggested, which was go to a location. It's sort of a couple together live stream thing where I film as if I'm doing a live stream at a location and talk to nobody. And I then make a video of that. And hi, Alan. I'll make a video of that eventually, probably later today when I get round to it. But I kind of preview it, if you like, by showing raw clips on the live stream. That way I can talk to you and get some feedback. And you say, and you tell me, no, that was rubbish. No, try again, or something like that. And instead of wandering around talking to you, not seeing your comments, and taking the risk of the stream dying, and so on. But I had a very pleasant time yesterday in Leiden. I'd been considering going to this place, the Siebold House Museum. In Leiden. Leiden, by the way, is in Holland. It's a very nice, pleasant town. You'll see the pictures shortly. It's about half an hour away from Amsterdam. Amsterdam is sort of north of it. And from my house, from door to car park, it was an hour and 40-minute drive. Very straightforward, very dull. So in the video, you see me setting out, and nothing of the drive because it's just motorway all the way. But it was very pleasant when I could actually drive my crappy old diesel car into Leiden. I did check that they didn't have a low emission zone, which is basically limiting where I can go with my car more and more. But they do have a low emission zone, but only for trucks and buses and stuff, which was handy. So I could park quite close to the center of the town and just wander in, which I did. And so without further ado, I'll go to the magic of my, I won't mention it, magic. I shall go here. There we are. You can hear me talking, hopefully. Say something, somebody. Say if you can hear me talking. The people in the picture here. Oh, hang on, that's not correct. I have to go back to this. There we are. Right. Chap on the left there, bottom left, just for some reference. This is Philip Franz von Siebold, a Bavarian of a wealthy doctor's family, born in the late 18th century. And he himself became a doctor, and eventually worked for the Dutch East India Company, and was then sent to Dejima, the artificial island created by the shogunate in Japan near Nagasaki, as the only access point for Westerners during the so-called closed-off period of Japan. And he wasn't the first doctor to be sent there, and wasn't the last. But he arrived at a time when the shogunate was not actually in power. He arrived in the 1820s. This is actually a portrait of him as a young man, or more or less what he looked like when he arrived there. Portrait by a Japanese artist from the 1820s. And next to him is actually his Japanese common law wife, Kusamoto. I think not Ine, Okuba or something like that. Okuba. I have to look it up. Hang on. References. All right. Kusamoto Taki Kusamoto, who he called Otakusa. Otaku. That's his otaku wife. You can hear me. Jolly good. Yes, I shall start it playing. I shall be quiet now. This is his wife. He married, and later his daughter appears, who also was quite unusually qualified for. There he is. That's his daughter. He had a daughter by Taki, and her name is Ine Kusamoto, and she became court physician to the Empress of Japan in the 1880s, and she died in 1903. But she was a fully qualified doctor in obviously Western medicine, and was a courtier. Anyway, that's enough about that. Let's go to here. Now, please tell me if you can hear me anything from this video. This is raw footage. It will appear as a finished YouTube video at some point. But this is Leiden, and this is the street where the Siebold house is. That's that big house with a flagpole. It was a chilly day, about 4 degrees, but as you'll see from later images, the clouds lifted and it became a beautiful, glorious, sunny day with blue sky. Still cold, nice, fresh winter morning kind of day. That was the house from the front. Can anybody hear what I'm saying in the video? Comment now and let me know. Otherwise, I may have to sort of speak over it. Ah, thanks, Alan. It does look like Amsterdam. It's like Amsterdam in miniature and less busy. I mean, mostly Dutch people and not a lot of tourists. This is inside the museum. Consists of basically 2 rooms of the main collection, which was basically what von Siebold did with his being able to live on Decima, and then he actually, what happened was he, as a doctor, he helped a Japanese official recover, and was then granted by the emperor the privilege of living on the mainland. But his Japanese patients were not allowed to pay him, and so instead they gave him things, and so he. With his scientific mind, he basically collected as much as possible, mostly flora and fauna specimens, but also historic objects, which he then sent back to Holland. This is going rather quickly here. The more will appear in the video about van Siebold and his collection, but this was the temporary exhibitions on the upper floors. This was an artist born in 1933, a Japanese artist, Tanaka, Ryohei Tanaka, who seemed to be, was a very skilled artist in etching, but seemed to be very obsessed with thatched roofs. You can't hear the Leiden video. It's a good job that I'm talking then. Yes, this app doesn't do that very well. Besides thatched roofs, he also did... Hello, who's that? He's probably saying somebody thank you for the spam or something like that. Yes, it's my friend in the Philippines thanking me for the spam. Okay, so yes. Basically, here I comment, oh, it's all much of the same. And then another room upstairs were actually Japanese prints from a previous period, the Ukiyo-e period. Ukiyo-e, Ukiyo-e, Ukiyo-u, I don't know. But you know, celebrating the 4 seasons. It's a very modest collection. But it's certainly well worth a visit if you happen to be in Leiden. That's me saying, you know, it was very interesting. I'm going into Leiden now, which you will hear in the video when it eventually comes out. And I'm wearing one of those like little sort of reader things around your neck, which tells you what's in the cabinets. This is Leiden, which consists of a maze of narrow streets centered around canals. This is where I have my lunch and my Instagram moment. Bagels and beans. I decided I'd go for another bagel since I'd had one on my previous walkabout live stream. Coffee, of course. And there's the bagel. Goat's cheese, honey and walnut. Very nice. People are stunned and not commenting. They're just watching. And this is me. You can't hear, apparently, just saying that actually I'd made a mistake when I'd said that I'd been to Leiden nearly 30 years ago. I hadn't. I'd been to Delft, which is about 8 kilometers away from here. Also very pretty, and where the name Delft tiles come from. So this was my first time in Leiden. And as Ellen said, it does look quite a lot like Amsterdam, with the houses along the canals and Dutch people rowing and stuff. Oh, was that the end? That was the end of that. Hang on. Let's go to... right. Transfer to this one. And the bagel was rather good. The goat's cheese. It was a bit small, though. I mean, mind you, I only paid something like €6 for it. Play. Why is it not playing? Oh, hang on. I've got to go here. That's why it's not playing. This was a rather amazing looking church in Delft. And as you can see, the blue sky and the sunshine really sort of brought out the crispness and the colours. And it was quite busy on the main shopping street with all the bog standard high street shops. But actually the other streets in the city with all the historic buildings and so on were not overrun. Mainly probably because Leiden isn't full of like dope peddling coffee shops, which is what basically all the tourists come to Amsterdam for. And masses and masses of young people and middle-aged hippies getting their dope fix. But you don't get that in Leiden. Oh, that's all right. That's whilst Landpiper. That's my son. He's just telling me he has arrived on YouTube instead of on Facebook. That he's arrived at the horses he has to clean out. Okay. So yes, this is very, very Oer-Hollands. Yeah, he has to work now. He has to clean the horses out. That's his task for today. Not my horses, I'm hasten to add. It's not my cup of tea, and I can't afford it anyway. So yes, that was basically what you will see in the video. Is more. This was a fraction of what appears in the video. I will try and keep the video relatively short. But anyway, back to my living room. Why did I call this rangaku? Rangaku is Dutch studies. And it seemed appropriate since I was going to the Siebold house. And this is the kanji for Dutch studies, which was the Japanese term for basically anything related to Western knowledge. As I said, Dejima in Nagasaki was this artificial island created by the shogunate to keep the foreigners on, the Westerners, and keep a strict control about what information came out of Japan, but to get as much information from outside Japan into Japan through this source. And they did lots of scientific knowledge and so on. And actually, poor old von Siebold, very conscientious, got married, well, married, I don't know, but had a Japanese wife and daughter, and so on, and was much respected by citizenry. But unfortunately for him, he went on the trip to Edo. That's where you make a trip to what was then sort of the capital. In 1829, I think it was, he went. And he, along the way, someone donated to him some maps of Hokkaido, which he then had in his possession, which was actually strictly forbidden by the Japanese authorities. Hey, Robert. And when they discovered this, despite him having a spotless reputation and having lived there for a while, they suspected that he was a Russian spy with maps of northern Japan, and he was subsequently deported, having to leave his wife and daughter in Japan, and wasn't allowed back for about 30 years, which is rather unfortunate. But friends and colleagues there carried on his work of collecting stuff and sent it all back to Holland. Amassed a huge collection, so much so that in the 1830s, the most well-known foreign country outside of Europe for flora and fauna and the state of the country was Japan. Until people then sort of went and explored other places. So he was responsible for that, really. So it was quite it's quite an important figure in that sense. And it's a shame that the museum, it has a video which I didn't sit and watch, and it has these little sort of audio guides to each of the cabinets. There's only about 5 cabinets in one room, with a fraction of what he collected, and then in another room, you'll see in the video there's some rather sort of badly stuffed animals. And wrinkly fish and dead things and rather bleached out and dried looking plant specimens, which is not the most fascinating thing to look at, I can tell you. But yes, that will appear in the video when I get round to it. So that was basically it as far as Leiden goes. Ask me any questions. I've got Wikipedia open here, and I can consult if necessary. But yes, I mean this is now, I'm reduced now to doing my out and about live streams this way, and unless, I mean, I know, for example, that I can go to like Antwerp and Ghent, and possibly even Brussels. I'm not sure. I don't think I've done a live stream from Brussels. I'm worried about the buildings in Brussels. There's lots of tall buildings. Who is the next guest? Well, that's a bit previous, but when I spammed her this morning with the link, I asked, is she still okay for next Saturday? I've not heard anything yet, but I will try and contact her in the week. And she said the 7th of December when I was talking with her a couple of weeks ago. And that's Jenny Silver. You know Jenny Silver, don't you, Radri? Japanese in Real Life channel and her own channel, which her own channel or her main channel doesn't really have much on it anymore. But yes, voice artist extraordinaire. She's been on the Three Old Dudes a couple of times, but she's never been on the Simon NoChaNoMa show. So I asked her, and she's super busy, but she's going to try and join next Saturday? No, I do not. You don't know who Jenny Silver is? Okay. She lives somewhere in Tokyo, like you, and she's been on the J-vlog scene probably about the same amount of time you have. But her main gig is working as a voice artist for adverts and promotional videos for Japanese sort of companies and whatnot. She's been on mini guest appearances on NHK Tokyo Eye and stuff like that, and that kind of thing. I actually, when I was flying to Japan once, I was watching an NHK program, and there she was talking about something in Tokyo. It was quite fun seeing one of my YouTube friends on the little screen in front of me in the airplane. And I've met her a couple of times. I've had cupcakes with her and Hiko Simon and Tokia Bribri. And then what did I meet her this? Oh, I think I met her twice. Yeah. And hopefully again next time. But yes, just look up on YouTube Jenny Silver. But yes, so hopefully she will be the guest next week. And speaking of guests, about half an hour after the show is finished, I've got a line meeting with my singer friend, Chuck the Magpie, and she has actually found some stand-up comedians, Japanese stand-up comedians, who are going to be in a little line group discussion thing to talk to me and see about being on the show. Hopefully, they will join. I'm not quite sure when, but they will. I shall have to do my research on Japanese stand-up comedy, which, given that I don't understand very much in Japanese, it could be problematic. But yes, that's the future guest. Another future guest is the Japanese specialist. If you're watching while you're having a lunch or after the fact, Ingrid, hello. Sort of a friend, YouTube, not YouTube, Instagram friend, Ingrid, who is a Japanese specialist, Dutch Japanese specialist. She's possibly going to be a guest in the new year. And I had another guest lined up for the new year. But I'm not able, from my location here, it's difficult to find guests. I had asked, my original idea for this show was actually to get Rena of Mashu and Rena, Tokyo Bribri, and Morgan Le Fay, because they all know each other and have hung out together. And I've, apart from Morgan Le Fay, Tina, I've met the other two. So I thought it would be nice to get them all as guests and have a kind of like a little get together. But unfortunately, that was not going to work out. Brittany has not seen a message. Tina is otherwise engaged, and Rena goes to her parents at the weekend apparently. So that didn't happen. So I'm trying. I'm in negotiations and so on to get guests. But for the moment, it's just me. And you, my quiet audience. It's never like this on Only in Japan Go. Can't get a bloody word in edgeways in comments. But then again, he hardly ever talks to the people commenting. But then the comments go by so fast. Engage with me, audience. Make it worth my while. But yes, let's go back to Leiden for a minute. where was it? Yes, it's very typical. It sort of developed in the 17th. Obviously, when after the British started barging their way around the world, the Dutch decided to as well, and this resulted in the 17th century in expansion of Holland. Holland at that time was like a free state. I think it was I can't remember whether it was a republic at that point or whether it was. I think it was still a republic in the 17th century, and the towns were independent, the cities, and it was Protestant, surrounded by Catholic Germany, France, and what eventually became Belgium. And so anybody who wasn't Catholic and who was being persecuted, Xmas plans. Yeah, well, so going back from 17th century Holland to Xmas plans, usual Xmas plans. I shall be this afternoon putting up my Christmas tree and taking the usual. Formerly Simon Three Old Dudes and now Simon NoChaNoMa Christmas photo with sons, partly for Facebook purposes and partly also to put in my Christmas cards to my friends and family. And then I shall be desperately trying to think of presents for my parents and my sister and family. They're probably just going to get same as last year, which is comestibles. From Belgium, Belgian specialities, and then it's off to England to take these things, and I shall be driving there in turns with my son again, which is good. I've been going that often that now my son is old enough to drive part of the way as well, so takes a bit of the pressure off, and up to jolly old England, and on the way popping into Shakespeare's Stratford-upon-Avon to meet my friend there again, and then on off up to the Lake District, and I shall try and do a live stream from England while I'm there, possibly just from the spare room where I have done that several times now at my parents' place. Manifesting a car, insurance, cash, and maybe a bugger off to Atlanta. All right. So yes, Robert, you're going to retire to. You're going to be one of those people who retires to Atlanta. Radri was a legend from the. Radri is still a legend, or a legend from the past. You're a legend from the past, Radri. Yes, Ellen. Sorry, Otnell Ellen. Yeah, I shall be doing a live stream from England. I've done one from my parents' garden. I've done one from the spare room with guests, even, but obviously not in the spare room. But the guests have been on the show. I take this webcam and my son's laptop, which works better than mine. And I now tether my phone to get the internet, because my parents have stopped internet because they were paying a ton of money for internet, and we only go there twice a year. UK vlogs, I shall do that. Christmas UK vlogs. I hope to go out for a walk. I mean, it's a beautiful area, the English Lake District, and with a bit of luck, it might look wintry, and so I shall try and attempt to do some vlogs. Oh, you're going to attend a party? You're not going to retire there, Robert? Okay. So yes, those are my Christmas plans, which are basically the same as every year, and I shall be coming back on New Year's Eve, and of course, I mean, everything's booked. I've got all the papers. Where the hell? Oh, here. Papers are on the floor. Yes, Le Shuttle, which is like the train through the tunnel. I'm booked to go on there and on the 21st of December. So that's about 9 days after the UK general election. Whether it'll be effing chaos with Brexit and everything, I don't know. I just hope not. Don't particularly want to sort of get stuck in traffic because of those idiots. Oh, that was a bit. I was going to pour that into a glass. Wino. No, stop, Simon. That's got to last till Tuesday. But yes, so those are my Christmas plans. How about you lot? Are you have you got your trees up and your balls out and your tinsel? Waits for response. The user interface media network and a few of the radio shows. I tried listening to, for some reason, classical radio. There's crap reception in my kitchen on my regular radio. It used to be okay, but maybe it's atmospherics. I don't know. But you know, when you're trying to listen to classical music while you're having your cornflakes or whatever, and all you get is interference and popular music channels butting in, then I decided to try listening on my phone. Did you miss the Leiden footage? MS, you did. Tell you what, especially if Randry's always had his balls out. There you go. Everybody in comments, everybody watching wanted to know that, and now they do. Right, I shall run this through you again, MS, so to speak. This is Leiden. Play you bugger. Oh no, I've got to go back to the. Hang on, sorry. Go back to the start. This is Leiden. This is what Leiden looks like. And apparently nobody can hear what I'm saying. These clips are going to manifest themselves with a bunch of others in an actual video. But I'm premiering it here. It's the nearest I can get to a live stream from Leiden. Saturday live streams, yes. Saturday, I will be it'll probably be a Sunday because I'm driving on the Saturday. To the 21st of December is a Saturday, so it'll be Sunday again, Ellen. So here you go, MS. This is one of the reasons I went to Leiden and the Franz von Siebold Museum. Bavarian doctor employed by the Dutch East India Company goes to Japan in the early 1820s when the shogunate was still active, ostensibly as a doctor for the Dutch people the Dutch traders on the island of Deshima, but becomes recognized by the Japanese authorities and is given permission to live on the mainland. Meets Japanese woman, has a daughter. The daguerreotype print thing next to his portrait is the daughter. The daughter learns Western medicine from him and works as a physician to the Empress, the Japanese court. That's basically von Siebold, and the rest is Leiden. There you are, MS. That was you'll just have to watch the video. These are the exhibition spaces. It's just basically 2 rooms, as I said before, with a tiny fraction of the stuff that he collected over the years there. And that's him in later years, or a bust of him in later years. So that's what you're supposed to do when you get to about 50, is grow an amazing stash and beard and go bald slightly. So what are you lot doing for Christmas? And this was a temporary exhibition upstairs of a Japanese artist who would be now in his 80s or 90s. if you're still alive. Waits for response to see what people are doing for Christmas. Have you got your place decorated yet, Ellen? Do you start decorating your place for Christmas? Do you go to your folks? What happens? I know that Robert, for example, goes. Do you go to your sisters, Robert? And Radri, what are you going to do for Christmas? You and Kiki and Kiki's mum. Do you celebrate Christmas at your place? Waits for response. You're going to America? All right, cool. The two of you? I presume the two of you. That'll be nice. Hello, Perk. This is me in Leiden. You can't hear me because of the app. I have app issues. So that's why I'm talking over the imagery. The imagery will appear in the video, and you will be able to hear me. Cool, the two of you. If Kiki's there, say hi, Kiki, from me. Christmas in Japan is lame. Yes, it's strawberry cake and Kentucky Fried Chicken, which is not quite the same. I would not be satisfied. I like my Christmas cake to weigh at least like 5 kilos, be stuffed with fruit and soaked in whiskey, and be covered in a layer of marzipan and white icing, and like stacks of mince pies and Christmas pudding with rum sauce, turkey till it's coming out of your ears, Brussels sprouts, potatoes, peas, carrots, real sort of like, you know you've eaten it food. Morning, Dibble. You know what I'm talking about. Christmas dinner. Just Radri was saying, you're not going to decorate your place. Not even a micro tree and a bauble. I mean, it's hardly worth decorating my place. I do it mainly because now for the Facebook photograph and to get this photo out in my Christmas cards. But I mean, my kids are here only like twice a week, and I'm here all the week, and nobody else sees it. So it's you know, I might as well just put it up for a day and take it away again. Chinese hot pot. I don't think I've ever had that. But yes, I mean, I'm on this famous diet where I'm cutting down on sugar and having just guzzled a ton of wine and 3 pieces of pizza. But I mean, yes, I am on a sort of a diet, low carbs and no sugar. But that goes completely out the window when I go to England. So yes, it's a mini turkey and a mince pie with a bit of rum sauce. Yeah. I mean, when I go to England, I mean, I won't need to do it this time, but sometimes when I go, I mean, my dad can't drive now because of his eyesight. So, but he used to be a farm feed supply merchant or an animal health. So he knows all these farmers basically, and they're sort of friends of his, and they say, oh, you know, here's some lamb and here's some fish and here's some turkey. So we go and collect the turkey. Fresh. So apologies to any vegetarians and vegans, but yeah, I drive down to the coast of the Lake District to this sort of remote farm, and we get the turkeys not only for us but for friends and neighbors. So the boot of my car is loaded up with huge dead birds. England has no diets. No, this is true. This is true. I mean, it's not as bad as some American places. But they don't waddle about in England, but they're getting there. I know it's a bit sad. Why am I on a diet? Pants, basically. Yeah, I mean, I don't look it. Hang on, let's just go back here. That was Leiden, by the way, MS. I don't look it here. No, and here, sort of, it's I can almost get my fingers around my arm, but around my middle, my pants don't fit. And that's deep fat apparently around your gonads, which is not good. So if you're going to eat meat, you might as well get it fresh. Yeah. Well, obviously, with my parents knowing these farmers, with plenty of fresh meat, so I splurge when I go there. It can't. No, it's not a weight. It's God. If I lost weight, then I'd. I think I'm only about like 72 kilos. Meter 50 or something, like meter 78 and 72 kilos. So my BMI is fine. It's just my hip to waist ratio and the deep fat and little pot belly. Going on a diet is damn sight easier than having to faff about doing push-ups and all that business. After my work during the day, which involves, if I'm busy, lifting heavy boxes of tiles, I have no motivation at all to do anything like push-ups. Walking is, yes. I mean, it's also walking for the sake of it is a bit, dull. And if you're walking, you got to walk to do X amount of steps to feel healthy. But I mean, if the area you're walking is like got lots of pollution, car pollution, and is dreary, the motivation to do it is fairly null. I am skinny. Yes, you look skinny. I look skinny to you. I am skinny. There is no two ways about it. I do have a pair of skinny jeans, which which if I put them on, it's Simon on sticks. So I don't wear those. Yes, exactly, Perk. This is, I mean, I'm attempting to lose the deep fat and make my so that I can fit back into my pants. But because I had a year of eating things like blocks of cheese and cream cakes and drinking beer every day, as a kind of comfort thing. But it had a negative effect, which I'm trying to compensate for. It depends. I mean, if you're doing lots of physical exercise, Remember crappy cartoons? Oh God, endless. And anything from the 1980s, 90s, and early 2000s Saturday morning children's television. Not quite the same when we were young. Oh no, they weren't crappy. Banana splits. Jumpers for goalposts. So sorry, that was a Fast Show reference. Do I remember crappy cartoons? No, generally, if they're crappy, I don't really remember them. How do we get onto that? How does that relate to my pants? Yeah, when you were a kid, there was a dog in Flanders. Okay. Esoteric cartoons where Perk lives. When I was a kid, there was a cartoon called Hong Kong Phooey. In France. Oh yeah, well yeah, oh god, French cartoons. There was some weird, like Czechoslovakian cartoon about a mole. That was quite cool, but it was very bizarre. From the 60s. It dies in the winter. Oh, God, a poor kid wanted to become a painter. He fails and dies in the winter. The end. It's very French. Yeah. You can imagine the sort of like the cartoonist going, "Oh, c'est mort, c'est fini." Anybody fancy a pint? Fast Joe references there. You won't get them unless you know the Fast Joe. I can recommend the Fast Show. I would recommend people looking up the Fast Show on YouTube. It was on when he got back from school. Oh God. Yes. Existential cartoons for French children. All right. Guess they don't have that anymore. Probably. It's all been like it's all happy. And then when something bad happens, children go, ah. The dog cuddles up against his body in the snow. Okay. So does this resonate with crappy cartoons that you remember, Radri? Why did I start a new channel? Because of the duck up there in the corner. It wants your short and curlies. Sort of access to modify blah blah blah, and access to all your Google information. And I didn't really like that idea. And I had a spare channel going, which was called something different, which then I changed to this name and gave them that, which is tied to a different Google account, which is not connected to any of my other Google accounts, and I don't do anything with the Google on it. So there's bugger all in terms of profitable information or sensitive information or anything. So that's basically why I did it. But it's double the workload. I have to make the adverts on the old channel and the vlogs I do on the old channel. But it's handy in a sense because it keeps this channel. If you go to this channel, it's just live streams. I mean, for me, it's handy. I mean, in terms of a YouTube career, it's total bollocks. But oh, God Almighty, what? French kids on acid. But that cartoon where the soccer field is so big, the goals are hidden behind the horizon. Okay. This was in the days before smartphones, obviously, when French children came home from school. My other channel got too popular. Hardly. I don't consider 474 subscribers, about a third of whom are ancient subscribers from the previous incarnation of the channel, as popular. Nobody dies in it. No, I mean nobody knows this one. Only you lot, and people who stumble across it on Instagram and such like. Terrible with all that promotional business. I appear on Facebook. I appear on Instagram. Can't be arsed with Twitter. So really, yeah, the promotional tips that YouTube give, don't follow any of those. So if I don't grow my channel, I mean, I can't complain. It's my own fault. Captain Tsubasa. Okay. Yes, the world's most valuable commodity is information. Everybody wants yours and no one wants to pay you for it. Exactly. So they can have my empty channel of empty Google information source, and I get to use their app, which allows me to invite guests on. So yeah, because answering Radri, why I created another channel, I needed a channel to be able to get guests on, because my computer doesn't do OBS, and I can't be asked. Even if it did, I couldn't be asked to set up all that faff with Skype and whatnot. And this, I can just throw them a link. Like if you experience it, you just copy the link, send it to them, and it's browser based. So and all the like work is done by them, and not the CPU of your or your guest's computer or smartphone. And so it works very smoothly. You can stream to other platforms. You don't have to record it. You can record it, but you can stream simultaneously to. If you pay $20 a month, you can stream to other platforms. I can't afford like $5 a month, never mind 20, and I wouldn't consider it worthwhile anyway. It's free if you're the product, yes, or if you have like advertising and whatnot. So yes, basically that's why I had another channel, so that they couldn't dip into my channel and my connections and so forth. I mean, if you're a big channel, then it's more sensible, perhaps, to keep everything together in one place if you're going to use this app. I'm not sure what OBS is like with that, whether they require that much access, because that's an open source. I think OBS is open source, isn't it? And but this is a commercial app. But yeah, my computer just couldn't cope with OBS. Said this is not installed, that's not installed, and I just could not be asked to go to the computer shop and say, "Can you put this in for me for €100 or whatever?" It runs on your OBS runs on your computer. Why is my mic in a sweater today? My mic is in a sweater because I was in a sweater last week, because there's sort of what happens is that because the microphone is bright white, it buggers up the white balance. So and it also sort of I have this bright white thing in front of me, like somebody said it looked like the Death Star or something like that. So yes, and also when I had a black background one time, it kind of merged into that as well. It's all for aesthetics, basically. Trying to turn your phone into a webcam. I don't know, Dibble. You live in London. I'm sure you've got stories about London. I mean, I watch on one of my other channels people wandering about London, following the routes of old rivers and abandoned railway lines and that kind of thing. So, but you don't have to go out wandering about, but it might be interesting. Third-party software, yes. But I mean, I'm a lazy sod, and I like one-click solutions where I don't have to sort of go into the innards of my computer or search too hard. and this was the best option. So I could recommend it, although I'm not being sponsored by them. Got some eye rolling there from Radri. If you're still watching. But yes, getting back to the subject at hand, after this and after my negotiations with the stand-up comedians from Tokyo, I shall be doing two things. Writing sort of the obligatory Christmas cards, and then possibly working on the video. Video is actually a lot easier than writing the Christmas cards. That sounds quite interesting. You don't have to do actually a live stream for that. You could probably just do a video, and you wouldn't necessarily have to appear in it. If you had, like, I mean, I've done Japan videos. My first Japan video, you hear me talking, and you see a lot of photographs and some footage, but I don't actually appear very much in it. The peaks to London. I had a friend, who cycled from my hometown in the Lake District to London on an old style bicycle, not a mountain bike or a racing bike, but just an old style bicycle with a basket on the front, with his dog in the basket. and he wore a sort of like a multicolored stripy sweater and a long coat, and he had long hair and a beard, and cycled. Took him weeks, I think, to cycle from there to London, and he basically talked to people in pubs on the way, and was offered places to stay for the night. I could never see myself doing that at all. I can premiere a video. I did think about actually using this. It's a bit short notice. I couldn't have edited the video together and been able to premiere it on this show. Hello. That's maybe Warsland Piper to say he's... it's my friend Daniel from One More Gaijin. He did the JLPT 2, I think, today. He's not sure whether he passed or not. Very long and exhausting. Not sure if he passed or not. Yes, I haven't looked at any of my notes from my Japan lessons since I stopped. Unfortunately, we hadn't even got onto. We just barely got onto kanji. Yeah, it sounds like me, Perk. You tried a bike trip like that once, and you turned back after 2 days and went home. I cycled once from home into the middle of the Lake District. It's not all that far. It's about like 30 miles, or 15, 20 miles. At a certain point, I just went into a telephone kiosk. This was back in the day when there were no mobile phones, and put my money in and dialed up my parents and said, "Can you come and get me?" Just didn't fancy cycling all the way back. I haven't done a cycle for ages. I used to cycle around here. It's flat, fairly flat around here. It's quite easy to cycle. It's just the area that I'm in is basically crisscrossed with urbanization, with like little patches of what passes for countryside. So by the time you've got to anywhere nice, you've cycled through dreary suburbia. You've got to go, Ellen. Okay. Thanks for coming. See you next week. Bye, Ellen. Carry on with that puzzle and post some pictures on Instagram. Oh, I've got 30 seconds left to go. The Kennet and Avon Canal, and you screwed up your Kennet and Avon Canal. Canal's generally flat. Must have been an accident. I don't mind biking from, like I biked to the library and the supermarket this morning, as I usually do on a Sunday. But if I'm going out for an enjoyable bike ride, I've kind of like exhausted the possibilities around here. I'll probably have to sort of put the seats of my car down flat, chuck the bike in, and then drive to somewhere to cycle, not anywhere more interesting. Well, yes. I mean, yeah. I mean, I used to cycle a lot, for example, in the Lake District, but and then it's worth it. It's hard work, and you build up your muscles quite quickly if you do it regularly enough. And I was doing that regularly after sort of in between in the summer holidays after college and then after finishing college. This is it, Robert. Yeah, just there's so many apps and things you can use to stream to YouTube. What I'm looking for, ideally, I mean, I use Manycam, but Manycam, I've never tried the actual direct connection because all this business where they have to have access to all your channel and everything. I just use the RTMP custom option on the phone, and that streams perfectly well, so long as your 4G connection is good. But because it's a custom connection, and I don't know whether the actual dedicated connection to YouTube on Manycam will allow comments to appear. I'm not sure whether that would happen. It would be handy if it did. But then what I would prefer is an app that, like the one I'm using. I mean, I keep mentioning to StreamYard when they say after each broadcast, they say, how do you think we can improve? And I'd say, well, make an app that goes on the phone and allows me to see comments, and that would be great. Oh, well, yeah, I can't. I need a free one, not a paid for app. Like I said, I can barely. I mean, I pay Doctors Without Frontiers €8 a month, and that was because they cornered me in the car park of the supermarket once and said, "Would you like to, donate?" And I ended up doing like a fixed donation every year of €8 a month, and that's basically my disposable income disposed of. So can't really. It's weighing up between a YouTube app and Doctors Without Frontiers. Doctors Without Frontiers wins. Free apps aren't worth it. I don't know. This one works all right. I mean, it doesn't bombard on my PC. It certainly doesn't bombard me with annoying adverts and promotional stuff. And the Manycam app, which is giving us the green screen, that only does that occasionally when there's a sort of a new update or sort of like they had a Black Friday sale thing and that popped up on my screen and I couldn't get rid of it. I had to switch the bloody computer off and start again to get rid of it. But generally speaking, it's quite good. But yes, I know what you mean. Lots of free apps are free because they want access to all your information and bombard you with annoying adverts. And often are glitchy, and after the first couple of years, they don't bother to update the apps, and because they've raked in all their money, and they can't be asked to update it anymore, and then it crashes all the time. Gaku, the one on the right is Gaku. I know that only because of Google Translate. So if I ever saw that, I would be able to work out. It would mean music, or it would mean art, or something like that, or learning, or yes, Black Friday has been and gone, and it's not. Yeah, I mean, maybe I should have done. Maybe I should have. My Christmas present is going to be from my children. I know in advance is going to be a gift voucher for a particular like media company in Europe, and from them I'm hoping to eventually get a decent microphone. I mean, this is quite decent, but I mean a proper voice actor microphone. A kid under a... Oh, what? Hang on. You ran into it last week in the Heisig book. A kid under a house, learning kanji characters. Okay. Ah. Okay. My son is just telling me I didn't know he had Bluetooth earphones, Tom. So you wander about with those things dangling from your ears with no wires. Okay. So it could be a little bit later. That's no problem. I know what mine is too. It's a pocket hole jig. No, I'm completely lost now. On one hand, I've got my son telling me he's lost his Bluetooth earphones at his friend's house, and Dibble telling me he's got a pocket hole jig, and Perk talking about kanji under a house. Okay. And Robert talking about microphones. For the rest of you who are watching this after event, who I spammed this morning, I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you enjoyed the Leiden part. And don't mind me rambling on 3 sheets to the wind. And thank you, folks. Actually, I'm probably going to wrap up now. I'm exhausted the possibilities. Next week, as I say, hopefully she'll see the message, and I shall talk to her hopefully during the week. Jenny Silver will be the guest. That'll be a good old-fashioned, old-style Simon NoChaNoMa show with guest. Fingers crossed. And in half an hour, yeah, I've got to go actually. In about 15 minutes, I've got this meeting with Chuck the Magpie and the Tokyo stand-up comedians. So that hopefully will provide results. But for those of you with me now, and for those of you watching after the event, thank you for joining. And I will hopefully see you next week. It's a jig, yes. A jigsaw jig, yes. Okay. Woodworking. So, thank you, everybody. Have a nice rest of the day. I shall make attempts to do the video. You will see it probably in next week sometime. Okay, thanks, everybody. I'm going to end the broadcast now and see you next week. Bye, everyone. Bye.